All right, good evening again. My name is Kyle Cooper and I'm the president of the Chicago Police Board. I'm calling the board's February 20th public meeting to order. We thank CAN-TV for covering this meeting. It is being live streamed at cantv.org and on the CAN-TV app and televised on CAN-TV 27. Along with myself, we have the following board members attending in person this evening. Board member Claudia Badillo, board member Tyler Hall, board member Arlette Porter, board member Andrea Safakis, board member Justin Terry, and board member Cynthia Velasquez. Board members Block and Liss are unable to attend this meeting in person and would like to attend remotely. Is there a motion to permit them to do so?
So moved.
All in favor, please raise your hands and say aye. Aye. Here, seeing all hands raised, the motion passes. In addition to the police board members, we have the following city officials here with us this evening. We have the Superintendent of Police, Mr. Larry Snelling. We have the General Counsel of the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, Mr. Robin Murphy, who's representing Chief Administrator Andrea Kirsten. We have the Deputy Inspector General for Public Safety, Ms. Tabara Richardson. We have the Deputy Chief of the Chicago Police Department's Bureau of Internal Affairs, Officer Tracy Walker, who is here on behalf of Chief Yolanda Talley. We have the General Counsel to the Superintendent, Mr. Scott Spears. And as always, we have the Police Board's Executive Director, Mr. Max Caproni. We will now turn to the items on the meeting agenda. Is there a motion to approve the drafts of the minutes of the board's public and closed meetings held on January 16th?
So moved.
All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 Hearing all ayes and seeing all hands raised, the motion passes. The next regular meeting of the police board is scheduled to take place on March 20th at 7:30 p.m. And that meeting is scheduled to take place where all the Chicago Police Board meetings do, which is right here at the Chicago Public Safety Headquarters. The police board meets in executive session to discuss various matters. Those discussions are closed to the public as authorized by Section 2C1, 4, 11, and 21 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act. Information on matters discussed in the executive sessions is included in the minutes of the meetings posted on the police board's website. Is there a motion to close a series of future executive sessions as authorized by these sections of the Open Meetings Act?
So moved.
All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing all ayes, the motion passes. The next item we have on the agenda is a discussion of police disciplinary cases. The police board hears cases when the superintendent files charges recommending that a sworn officer be discharged from the Chicago Police Department for violating the Chicago Police Department's rules of conduct. The board, as authorized by the Open Meetings Act, has discussed in a closed meeting one police disciplinary case, and we will now take final action on this case. Regarding case number 24 PB 3039, the superintendent filed charges against Lieutenant Wilfredo Roman Jr., recommending that he be discharged from the Chicago Police Department for use of excessive force. The superintendent subsequently moved to withdraw these charges because the parties agreed to settle the case and to have the superintendent suspend the lieutenant without pay for 180 days. Is there a motion to approve the settlement agreement and grant the superintendent's motion?
So moved.
Second.
I will now call on the members of the board for their vote. Board member Badillo,
Aye.
board member Block,
Aye.
board member Hall,
Aye.
board member Liss,
Aye.
board member Safakis,
Aye.
board member Terry,
Aye.
and board member Velasquez.
Aye.
I also vote in favor of the motion, and the motion passes by a vote of 8-0. A written order will be drafted and entered as of today's date, sent to the parties, and then promptly posted on the police board's website. The next item we have on the agenda is an update on the arbitration of police disciplinary cases and including data on the impact of the ongoing litigation. First, I just want to provide some background information as to how we got here and where we might be going. For over 60 years, from 1961 through 2023, the police board was the only decision maker of the most serious cases of police discipline, those in which the recommendation was to discharge the officer from the Chicago Police Department. In March 2024, a Cook County Circuit judge ruled that police officers have the right to choose to have these cases heard by an arbitrator are before the police board. The Police Officers Union, the Fraternal Order of Police, has appealed the Circuit Court's ruling requiring arbitration hearings being open to the public. The city is not challenging the arbitration option in the case currently before the Illinois Appellate Court. Accordingly, there will be no arbitration hearings until the FOP and the city reach an agreement on the arbitration process that is open to the public as required by the Circuit Court. And there can be no police board hearings without the consent of the accused officer per the Circuit Court's order. And just for a little background to let everybody know where cases stand, there are currently 16 discharge cases and one 366-day suspension case currently before the police board in which the accused officer has requested arbitration. Thus, as a result of the Circuit Court's ruling, those cases are currently on hold. The cases on hold also include 4 police shooting cases and 4 domestic violence cases. There are 4 police board cases that are moving forward because the accused officer has elected to have a police board hearing, and all 4 of these cases involve non-duty related charges, such as residency requirements or drug use outside of the performance of duties. Next slide, please, Max. Because of the large number of cases being on hold due to the arbitration litigation, as you can see in this chart, there was a sharp decline in the cases that were decided by the board in 2024. The board ruled on 5 cases last year, compared to 20 cases in 2022 and 24 in 2023. In addition, as you can see from this chart, there was a significant decrease in cases that were filed with the police board after the litigation on the arbitration option commenced in early 2024. 7 cases were filed last year compared to 16 in 2023, and 23 in 24, and 23 in 2023. No cases have been filed thus far in 2025. The litigation on arbitration of police disciplinary cases is ongoing, and we are currently waiting to hear whether the Illinois Appellate Court will hold oral arguments on the case before it. It appears that it will be at least several months before the Illinois Appellate Court decides the case, and after that, there will likely be an appeal to the Illinois Supreme Court. In the meantime, and this is important to note, consideration of the most serious cases of police disciplinary conduct remain on hold in Chicago. The next item on the agenda is appeals by applicants who have been disqualified to become Chicago police officers. When a person who applies to become a Chicago police officer is disqualified and removed from the eligibility list due to the results of a background investigation, that person has a right to appeal that decision to the police board. The board, as authorized by the Open Meetings Act, has discussed in a closed meeting several appeals. We will now take final action on these appeals. Is there a motion to affirm the disqualification decision for the following appeals? 24 AA 59 and 24 AA 62.
So moved.
Second.
I will now call on the board members for their votes on these appeals. Board Member Badillo?
Aye.
Board Member Block?
Aye.
Board Member Hall?
Aye.
Board Member Liss?
Aye.
Board Member Porter?
Aye.
Board Member Safakis?
Aye.
Board Member Terry? And Board Member Velasquez?
Aye.
I also vote in favor of the motion, and the motion passes. The written decisions of these appeals will be entered as of today's date, sent to the parties, and promptly posted on the police board's website. At this time, I would now like to call on the Superintendent of the Chicago Police Department, Mr. Larry Snelling, to give his report.
Good evening, and thank you, President Cooper, and also the members of the board, and I'd also like to thank members of the public for being here. We started this month by celebrating the graduation of 241 Chicago police recruits. These men and women have courageously chosen to serve our city in a time that's particularly difficult. These graduates are now probationary police officers working in districts citywide. We also honored officers who were recently promoted, including our command staff members, lieutenants, sergeants, detectives, and field training officers. These are new members of our department who have chosen to take a greater responsibility to strengthening public safety. As we work to increase public safety for all Chicagoans, we're asking residents and business owners to assist us by registering their private security cameras with CPD. These cameras can protect homes and businesses by acting as a deterrent, but they can also help bring justice to victims of crimes that occur in the area. Anyone with private security camera can visit chicagopolice.org camera registration. Again, chicagopolice.org camera registration to learn more and register the location of their camera, which will allow detectives to contact camera owners if a crime has occurred, and those detectives can capture the video. Let me be clear, this does not give CPD direct access to your camera system. What it does is it gives us the opportunity to reach out and call to get permission for you to volunteer footage if absolutely necessary. We all want to make our community safe for our families and fellow neighbors. To do that, partnership is vital. I want to thank everyone for your participation with our new programs with the Detective Division and our victim services. We have been working with more cooperation, which has helped us get to the bottom of violent crimes, and we want to continue that work. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Superintendent. At this time, I now like to call on Robin Murphy to give the report of the COPA Chief Administrator.
Good evening. Robin Murphy, General Counsel of Civilian Office of Police Accountability. And I would just like to announce our January numbers for COPA. We received 369 complaints and notifications. 81 of those were under COPA's jurisdiction, which included 360 allegations. 35% of those allegations were Fourth Amendment improper search and seizure allegations. We also received 2 officer-involved shooting notifications, and we concluded an investigation of 1 officer-involved shooting case. Video releases in January, under the city's video release policy, we released 3. In terms of community engagement, we had 12 community engagement events throughout the city. Finally, I would like to just take a moment to acknowledge Chief Andrea Kirsten, who announced last week she would be leaving her position as Chief Administrator. We are incredibly grateful for her leadership, expertise, and unwavering commitment, which have significantly shaped COPA's success. COPA has established itself as an independent and transparent voice in Chicago's community safety system, with many successes, including reaching full compliance with 90% of our consent decree requirements and reduction of our legacy case backlog to historic lows. Chief Kirsten would also like me to extend her heartfelt thanks to President Kyle Cooper and the rest of the police board. On behalf of COPA, we thank Chief Kirsten and wish her successes in her next endeavors.
Thank you, General Counsel Murphy. And just as a personal point of privilege, I also like to extend a warm thank you to Chief Administrator Kirsten for her service and her work in the city. She's been an invaluable resource to me as I started this position on the police board, and I just want to pass on my heartfelt good wishes and good luck to her in her next endeavor. At this point, I would now call on members of the public who signed up in advance to speak to come to the podium. And as always, to make sure that everybody who has signed up to speak has an opportunity to do so, that you limit your comments to 2 minutes, and to sort of keep us on track. If you hear a timer go off, that is to let you know that your 2 minutes have elapsed. And with that being said, the first person I would like to call is Ms. Sharon Cozy.
Okay, I'm Pastor Cozy. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm honored to be here. I first want to say that I am appreciative of all the people who are on the police force. I shouldn't say all, most, which brings me here this evening. I think most police officers do a fantastic job of keeping this city as safe as possible. I've born and raised in Chicago. I've lived here all my life. Which brings me to this evening because, what was it, 2015, 10 years ago, it's apropos that I'm here. On February 15th, I was pulled over for a moving violation. It's cold tonight, but at that particular time, there was a polar vortex, so cold the next day, Chicago Public Schools and a lot of other area schools were closed. I was pulled over on my way home about 8:30 p.m. by an officer who ended up arresting me. I told him that I had to be at work the next day. I am a staff chaplain. I work with police officers and law enforcement all the time. And as a result of that, and I don't want to get into all of that, but I've had health issues ever since. I was a senior then, and guess what? I'm still senior today, 10 years later. But I have arthritis in each one of my fingers, arthritis in my knees, arthritis in my hip, because basically I froze that night because I had to be taken in and out of the police car and back and forth and so on. Which brings me here tonight is that I propose to all those who are listening and to the police board, after looking at some of the statistics, I looked at 2 or 3 different areas. One was WTTW, investigative reports, and if my memory serves correctly, I don't need my glasses, that over the past 6 years, it's been almost $500 million in payoffs to settle claims from abuse and so on. And roughly 116 officers were responsible. I think that was also a WTTW statistic. 116 officers roughly cost the city about $93 million the last 3 years in settlements. So before I became an ordained pastor in seminary, I had to undergo a basic psychological test. And that was a prerequisite in order to be ordained and to graduate from Chicago Theological Seminary. I propose that moving forward with the consent decree and all that, that before they even hired police officers, cadets undergo a basic psychological test, and those with multiple complaints. This particular officer, I found out later on, had over 30 complaints.
Thank you, Pastor Cozy.
That's something I hope you consider to save the city money. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker who is signed up is Zakiya Muhammad. Zakiya Muhammad.
Good evening, board members. Good
evening.
evening to Superintendent Snelling. I'm back again. I am one of the elder activists in the community, and I have a serious concern about the incident that happened February 3rd, where some of our children, young children, had a run-in with different schools. And one of the young men got stabbed twice, and I think the one that did it was 15 years old, right here at 35th and Rose. Now, this is how innocent people can get hurt. And there are other elder mothers, grandmothers that wanted to be here. And we all have children that are 60 years old and older. So we are very, very, very concerned about this because we watch so many of them grow up. I'm standing at the bus stop right there at 35th Calumet. About 8 or 10 young boys run past me, throw a backpack in the garbage can, look back, and go back and pick it up. My girlfriend calls me to get in the car. I go to Lake Meadows Shopping Center. I come out, Walgreens and nothing but blue lights. So it's been an incident, and our children were hurt. So that's how innocent people can get hurt, not to mention our young people that are hurting each other. I'm asking again, can you put the cars back out there like you all had them out there when Bronzeville Military School opened and I had to come down here again and ask for cars because Dunbar Vocational, my alma mater, was down there making a scene with the young people. I'm in the bank. Young man come in the bank and snatch the fire extinguisher off the wall to go out there and beat somebody with. So it's serious. If we could just have the cars out there during the time that the schools are closing, so the cars can be seen, so the children, that should curb, hopefully, that should curb some of their activity. That should help, them try to do the right thing by not getting into fights with each other. And then that would save us innocent bystanders who could possibly be hurt in the middle of all this. Can we talk? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mohammed.
All right.
The next individual who signed up to speak is Ms. Melanie Hogan.
Hello, my name is Melanie Hogan. I am the founder of Shy Love here in Chicago. And piggybacking off what this young lady said right here with the youth, there is an issue. Unfortunately, they don't respect the police. Now, I pay attention, and I have seen the police officers actually abiding by the new training that they have received. But I'm also noticing some malicious compliance. And what I mean by that is they pull up, but they don't do anything. There's no resolve. So in the event where we are addressing youth, we need to, one, give the parents back their rights to discipline, not abuse, but to discipline their children, and to back the parents with this, because it's truly getting out of hand. So as the representatives, one of the representatives for the city, I'm a mother myself. When you all tell us something and we try to put it out into the neighborhood and saying, okay, we're having changes here in Chicago now, we need you all support as well when we're on the front line saying, well, these are the new changes that's occurring here in Inglewood, in South Shore, in the areas where they are known to be Chirac. And also, there are a lot of people who do not agree with the Chirac lifestyle. They're going to school, they're going to work. I live in Inglewood, I just finished my master's degree. So just because you're in their area doesn't mean that that's your mindset. But there are people who are in the area who want to continue with the tradition of what we know Chicago to be in certain urban areas. So I just want to say good job for what you all are doing correctly, and we all just need to come together and find some type of solution to help these babies and the parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hogan. The next speaker who signed up to speak is Dr. Rita Pritchett.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Isn't this a lovely evening? Everyone looks so well. I'll be brief. Good evening to my fellow citizens. Sister, how are you, sister? I was here a month ago, and I was speaking about the first woman killed in the line of duty. Her name is Darrell C. Brandon. Her husband, Matthew. Brandon is here. Stand up, Matthew. Don't be shy. Hurry up. Darrell was the first woman killed in the line of duty. She was my friend and she was my partner. She was recognized and honored for her heroism by 3rd District Commander Melvin Branch, who renamed the 3rd District Community Room in her honor. A lot of you may have thought Irma Ruiz was the first woman. Many of you remember Sister French, Ella French. And I'm not taking anything from any of my sisters in blue as women. But I want you to know that the first woman killed in the line of duty was Darrell Brandon. I want to let you know at that event and that celebration, brass came, nearly all of the brass came to honor her. Superintendent Snelling came and he spoke. Deputy Chief Walker, she was there. Chief Talley was there. Commander Davina Ward, she was there, and many other, but most of all, the community was there. And those of us who worked with Darrell, I want you to know, the brass stood for 2 hours. 2 hours. Nobody left, so that the retirees, like me, could sit and enjoy and fellowship. What I want to say before I take my seat, and I heard the bell go off. Many have attended the police academy. That's well and fine. Many of you may have gone on ride-alongs. I'm sure all of you have a degree or two. But there is no textbook to teach you what we do and have to endure as police officers, making last-minute decisions. Law enforcement for us is a lifestyle. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Pritchett. Thank you, Dr. Pritchett. The next individual who signed up to speak is Jasmine.
So I'm going to say that it's an awful shame that Kristen and Ephraim has resigned. And to the community that feel like maybe we shouldn't have a body that's created for accountability over CPD. I can say it 1,000,001 times. I have friends that I grew up with that are officers. All of these officers are not good officers. And our kids don't respect these officers because there's no accountability when the officers harm our community. I am an activist. I fight for wrongfully convicted and torture survivors and police accountability here in Chicago. I got in this field 2.5 years ago because my two loved ones who I'm still fighting for right now, Lester Owens and Rico Clark, 14.5 years, 17.5 years, that's far, wrongfully convicted by one of our highest paid sergeants in Chicago. And because of the exposure of his pattern and practice, being married to a state's attorney, working in departments that convict our people, and us making the news is why he was forced to retire a year ago. So when we speak about the problem and the crime in our communities, let's start with holding everybody accountable. These kids, I have a grandson and I have a daughter. My daughter is a gun victim survivor, shot 6 times on the streets of the city of Chicago and survived it and was able to produce a child after that. So when we talk about people who grew up in these communities, in these streets, I've done it, I've felt it, and my child is a person that's a victim of gun violence. So I'm not up here to always attack the police, but when there's no accountability and when it don't seem like the people that's in powers are trying to work with the people that's in a position to help us get accountability, there's an issue. There's an issue. There's no way you can fix our streets when you're not trying to hold your officers accountable, Snelling. There's no way. So let's correct the problem and help our future.
The next individual who signed up to speak is Pastor Doyle.
For the record, D-O-Y-L-E, this land is your land, L-A-N-D-R-Y, United States Marine Corps veteran. So I listened to everything that was said, and I literally changed what I was going to say, because multiple times everyone said accountability. So, the current Chicago Fire Commissioner, Annette Holt, would love accountability for her 16-year-old named Blair. Again, Julian class of '08, but he didn't make it. For every black mother who has to go to the graveyard to visit her child put there by another black trigger puller, they'd like accountability too. So what I see as a solution, because what we gloss over, when I say we of my shade, what we gloss over is for the incident at the Walgreens. By the way, it's unfortunate that Walgreens is closing, commercial. A lot of senior citizens are going to need that Walgreens. No, I don't work for Walgreens. I just need to say that. 35th and King Drive. Back to those young humans, can't call them young adults, young humans, whose homes do they come from? So we have our churches, we have our lodges, we have our places right now, February 20th, where the next few months you can have some honest conversation, let's say honest conversation, bringing those same boys and girls who do not pay rent, who do not pay real bills, to the table and ask them, why are you so angry? Because we can't bring back Blair Holt and the other young people murdered in the prime of their life. However, you can protect, you can prevent another Dexter Reed. Because at the end of the day, mental health for black males is real. And as Oprah says, you cannot fix what you will not face. Oh, by the way, the envelope, his birthday is February 28th. God bless.
Thank you, Pastor. The final speaker who is signed up to speak tonight is Ms. Lena Bivens.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lena Bivens. I'm from the 20th Ward, 3rd District, 64th and Vernon. I'm happy to be here. It's been a long time since I've been at one of these meetings, never in person, but always on Zoom. So I would like to piggyback on what everybody is saying, that I think an issue that we also have to implement is using community engagement, right? In Woodlawn, it seems like every 2 years we have a new person in charge, right? But it never trickles down to the community, right? We have some great people who are in place in the 3rd District, but this goes for all our districts who are having issues. Community engagement, partnering with the people in the community and maybe the organizations, maybe the businesses, we're going to have to step that up and do more for that. There are a lot of things going on in the world. There's a lot of things going on in the community, and you're going to have to choose people who want to be in our community. Just like the young lady stated, I am 49 years old. I've been in my home owner for 20 years, and the same thing's going on. And in 20 years, I was only 29, 28 years old. And 20 years later, we are still dealing with the same issues. We're still not getting the people in the office to come out. They come out, and there's some great people that work in the 3rd District. We know that. But for the most part, that is very lackluster. It feels like a lot of these police officers don't want to be in our community. For whatever reasons, we need to make a change. I need to ask people, figure out where they want to go. You have to have people in our community who wants to be there. So if there's change needs to happen, they will do what needs to do with their job duties and go the extra mile. You understand? So before that buzzer go, I did a hello walk in my community, right? Did the hello walk. They came out and the community was happy. They were in shock. The police officers came out during the summertime, and they were like, thank you for bringing those police officers, because they stopped and knocked on the door and just said hello. We didn't ask them for nothing. Just because they engaged, it made a difference. We need to get back to that.
Thank you, Ms. Bivens. All members of the public who have signed up to speak have been called. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Seeing all hands raised, the motion passes and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. See you guys.